Empty office space getting a makeover in an emerging housing trend. Dune Real Estate Partners and a developer, TF Cornerstone, announcing $1 billion venture to convert offices into residential properties in cities across the country. Joining us right now is Dan Neidich. He's Dune Real Estate Partners CEO. Good morning to you.
Hi.
This has been something people have been talking about doing for a long time, but there has been a question about how easy or hard it is to actually execute.
Right. First of all, I don't think people understand how much has already happened. I think CBRE did an article where they said 50,000 units had been converted since 2000 or something like that. So, I think that when I talk to people, the thing that I'm most surprised at is how little they understand what's happening right now. So just in New York City alone, and I think, New York is probably the poster child for this opportunity and a great place to have it done. And, there's been a lot of that done over the years. But right now in New York City alone, there's 18 million square feet of offices that are in some stage of conversion. So I think that the question of, is this an opportunity that is going to happen, we're kind of past that.
So the question is, but has the opportunity already gone past us? And the separate question is, these sort of B and C buildings, right? B and C office buildings that people are thinking about converting. There's been a question as to whether they really can be converted insofar as given where the elevator locations are, given where the water is, given how much light or lack of light there is in the internals of the building and sort of how it was structured, how easy or hard it is to actually make this even happen.
Sure.
There are a lot of people who say all the buildings that can be done are being done and all the others, you can't really do it.
Yeah. We just don't see that. I mean, both in New York and throughout the country, we see almost kind of like a fire hose of opportunities. And so, in New York, I mean, part of this, obviously, is when do the banks decide that they want to exit a loan? Because understand, this whole opportunity is really about the banks because the equity's gone. If there's a mezz loan, that's gone. And so your counterparty in all these deals are the banks.
So
and
all of these are distressed deals for you?
Every deal, every office, every B and to say that every B and C office is distressed, is a little bit of an overstatement, but there's a lot, in our world, or as we look at the opportunity, there's somewhat of an unlimited opportunity of distressed B and C office. People, whether it's work from home or it's companies having to create A or A+ space in order to attract employees to come back to the office, the B and C model just doesn't work, or at least from our standpoint, we would not invest in a B or C office building today with the bet that there'd be an office recovery. So you're really kind of dealing with kind of a massive market.
But you mentioned that it takes the banks deciding that they still want to be in this.
Right.
It probably also takes, I know here in New York, they've had a lot of talks trying to get the government to step in and offer incentives to make this more palatable. What is the cost of doing this, and what does it take from a public-private partnership?
First of all, understand that 467M was passed by the New York State Legislature. So any conversion, conversions basically of a certain age get 30-year or 35-year tax abatement. So that's already happened. And the government in Albany passed that, which shows the way governments are thinking about these opportunities. And it's not just, and it's just not tax abatement, though tax abatement makes a big difference, but it's also how they think about entitlements. There are cities that have historically been very difficult on development, and yet they're dying to have you convert their office buildings.
Right, because there's a huge need for additional housing. This is the way to get at that. What are the economics of it from your perspective?
And basically, we think we're at a significant discount to new construction. And, and different people have different arithmetic. Understand this is all about the basis that you buy the building.
Yeah, not just the idea of getting you in. This is faster way to get in housing, I think, too, than to tear down.
It's probably a year. It's probably, don't forget, what you're getting is your infrastructure and your foundations. And sometimes infrastructure and foundation can be problematic and can add time to your development process. So one, You've saved that part of the construction process. Also, you've probably saved significantly on the entitlement process. So time, which is a huge cost in development, of any kind of development, is a tremendous advantage for a conversion.
So what are the economics for you?
So, I think basically we think we're getting effectively new residential at about an 80% of replacement cost, which
that's a pretty great deal.
Is pretty compelling. But also, don't forget, you're getting, in many cases, if you think about and we've done a number of these even before this strategy, and you have to understand that because you're getting this space so cheaply, you can actually create better spaces than maybe you'd have created at new construction. So, for instance, you're getting, a normal office building has a 12 or 13-foot slab-to-slab ceiling.
Right.
Residential is kind of 8.5. I mean, certainly multifamily. So you're getting higher ceilings, you're getting better windows. You may be getting buildings that have, tremendous character to them.
What percent of these buildings, and this is going back to maybe the beginning?
Basis.
No. What percent can't be done? Meaning, what are the ones where? How often you walk into a building and you say, you know what? This is just too much.
Life's too short.
Life's too short. The expense is too high to actually move all this stuff around. It's just not going to work.
Right. I think the simple answer to your question is, at a certain basis,
everything's possible.
If you want to do the work. Because, a lot of this is sort of the difficulty of execution, the amount of resources you're going to have to spend, the amount of risk you're going to take. So when I talk about like the 18 million square feet that we're looking at right now, none of those require you to, let's say, cut a hole in the building, which is probably, at the extreme of level of difficulty.
That's the most expensive thing, to cut a hole.
That's the most expensive. And again, they're being done because if you get the basis cheap enough, understand there is no other choice for these buildings. I mean,
otherwise, you're going to get knocked down.
And they're not going to get knocked down for lots of different reasons, not the least of which is there's a huge difference in the degree of knocking down a building and then building new and then going through the entitlement process. Nothing's easy. So, everything's relative, and the conversion process is the most effective way of doing it.